the day has finally come where we are going to get the F32 on track. I am so excited. Also super nervous because it's just a lot of unknown. And what kind of teething pains are we going to run into with this thing? I'm hoping very minimal, none. So really this is going to start as a shakedown. Going to take it out, going to go a little bit easy, bring it back in, make sure everything is all good, and then yeah, go from there. Hopefully good session, and then start testing and seeing how this thing does. I am wildly excited. I don't know how many times I have said in the previous videos how excited I am about this thing, but finally all of that work the shop has put into this thing, now time to get it on track and see what it does. First session went well, went out for a lap and a half or so, and then brought it in, and just got awesome to check over it, and everything looked okay. We weren't smoking, we weren't leaking, so that was good news. Austin and Dave put together, and the rest of the guys in the shop put together a pretty good car so far. So we'll see where we go. 139 was my lap time. Should have had a 38, but traffic. So honestly, for just going out there and beating around for the start, we're in the window of feeling pretty good with this thing, I think.
We should probably work on shocks first and then come into brake pad changes, because the way the suspension works affects the way the brake works.
What is it not doing that you want it to do?
Honestly, it's lacking sway bar. We talked about it on pit lane because of the transitions here at Mid-Ohio, the lateral transitions, it needs more bar. And I would go with bar adjustment, and we have neither. Right. So we're on stock bar right now. So the challenge of building one of these things, by the way, is you get to build all the parts that aren't in the market so that you can make the car work the way you want it to work. So, you know, a lot of this stuff, you know, thankfully is off the shelf with good solutions. A lot of this stuff we're kind of figuring it out as we go. I need to dial into it more before, and I need to run it in a fast group where I don't have traffic to see.
That was the fast group?
Huh?
That was the fast group.
You sure about that?
Uh-huh.
All right.
38.3 is what I got.
Nice.
So I feel...
Where'd you feel it needed?
Probably some of that lateral. In the crossover after Madness, it's like you kind of got to be a little bit patient with the car moving on you. I started cooking it into the chicane better. I feel like I'm still leaving something on the table. I left something on the table there with the M2 whenever we were messing with that. But when I came in pretty hot, it felt like, oh, I'm struggling to get back over a little bit. I think I came in a little bit too hot and then a little bit too deep, and I had to try to fight it to get back the second left-hander of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would say it needs fully yet, because like I'm still tuning into it. Like I don't know if it's like pushy or oversteer. Honestly, I thought it felt balanced, not terrible out of the box.
Yeah, right. No, it's great out of the box. I think I can't say based on where my tire pressures were. I'd like to run it with a proper tire pressure, and I would try damper because it's a transitional thing. I would try damper first because I like the overall balance of the car, and changing ride heights is going to affect the balance. But it could be because my tires were jacked up as far as temps, pressures. So I need to get a. I'm just saying I think it's going to be that, but I'd like to run a couple laps. So do one more session
as is,
or a few laps, and we can make shock clicks and if it's not shock clicks, then it can be ride heights, and we can do that back here.
All right.
We talked about going down in the rebound damping so we can get on that compression curve faster, but I felt like the rear of the car is starting to get sloppy, and that may be starting to get sloppy as the sun starts coming down, as the sun hits more directly, as the track temp is going up, as we beat on these tires that were already beat on before we got here, and it's a 240 tire, so way narrower than we actually want to run on this kind of heavy car. So we're going to we'll put on the right tires tomorrow. I didn't think we'd get this far, by the way. So anyway, I think we're probably getting into the tire pretty good and getting to end of life of tire. And I feel like the reason I wanted to go up in rear rebound is over these hills, and it just feels like it's being pitched. But it's two things. It feels like it's being pitched, but also it feels like it's just on the verge of oversteer a lot of places now, and that's more now than it was this morning. So again, I think maybe we're losing the tire, but we went up in rebound. You drove that.
Yeah, felt better. Felt more tied down in the rear, especially some of the weight transfer places that happen around here. Going to the bus stop, getting it back over felt better. Madness felt better.
Super important. Just because it feels better doesn't always mean it is better, right? And that's a trick too. So the car can feel racier, it can feel tighter, but because you are on these single adjustable dampers and you're doing a lot with that rebound and trying to make it load the tire, rebound is kind of the opposite of that. Feeling better doesn't always mean faster.
Stopwatch was not faster. I was in traffic. It was a heavy traffic session, so who knows what it was.
Yeah, but also tires. So we're going to go ahead and hit that other problem, which is lowering the rear, see if we can get the rear a little bit more under us, although that also therefore means we numb up the front a little bit. And I like the front of the car. The front really gets and goes. But this is all just kind of getting our baseline of the car for the afternoon, and then I think this afternoon we're going to dig in on brake pad selection to try to get the bias that we want front to rear, because it's all about how it works with engaging the ABS, and I think we're a little too front bias heavy currently. But to be this close, to be not really wanting big changes, not looking at, we brought springs with us. I don't think we're doing anything with springs. No. To be this close out of the box and really not wanting a lot different, like we're already where I'd want to be in the second weekend with the car, not halfway into the first day. So
I definitely thought we were going to be troubleshooting problems, not like, hey, let's try to dial on this thing and see what we got.
Right.
So I'm stoked with where we're at right now.
Yeah, and so we'll learn more, and we bought some parts to be able to do that, and right now we've learned this thing's pretty fast.
Heck yeah.
So
back to it then.
All right. All right. So good first day, right? Good first day of new race car shakeout. Like the first time you get in the new car, you just want to make sure nothing falls off of it. And like we talked about at the hotel this morning, it was going to be electrical problems, right? Like that was, getting into a factory car, getting rid of so much stuff inside it. Phil did mad scientist for a bit at the old shop, a year and a lot ago.
Had those goggles on, nothing in the car, just unplugging stuff as we were going along, seeing what worked, what didn't.
So the car runs, and the car's fast. The car's fast out of the box, and we're already tuning on it to make it faster. And we know we need to make some parts, right?
Yep.
We need to make some sway bars. We need to look at front coolers. The extraction through the hood helped, but maybe not as much as we ultimately want. But so far, we're getting faster and faster every session today as the tires get older and older. We're on these old 245 Continentals that are like borrowed for the project. So we have the right tires, 275 tomorrow on a new spec TA16 wheel.
Yeah, a specific TA16 wheel for this. That's an 1810 to fit 275 square under stock bodywork. Pretty sweet.
So sticker tires, and Phil and I are going to battle it out for fast lap in the morning. crank out there a little bit.
Okay.
So it did on Ryan's car as well with slicks on it, so I feel good that that's the right read.
Well, that's a good baseline with having different tires, thinking maybe it was the tires.
Right. So I also felt like the rear was loose, and immediately I think a little bit brakes, but I also think it ought to come down in the rear, or based on this morning, it ought to come down in the rear. What'd you turn?
40.
Oh.
40 with traffic.
Oh, with traffic.
Yeah.
I like how Phil adds the with traffic.
With traffic. What'd you turn?
I was almost a 37.
Okay.
But it was like it kept getting faster lap by lap, and I think it was a matter of maybe fuel coming off too.
I think I would have been a 39, mid-low, probably a low 39 without traffic. I don't know that I had a 38 with how the car, my confidence and whatever felt this morning initially.
It definitely took driving it differently, and it was definitely just like super gentle and just knowing that you weren't going to have grip anywhere.
Like yesterday felt like, I'm just going to throw the hammer down and it's going to do it and I'm going to be fine. It was a little bit more ginger this morning.
Yeah, so I think we need a little heat in the track, and then we can give that another go. I would keep the brake pads on it because I think once we lower the rear, but I think we may be back to that 331, 332 deal. And that's why I wanted to transition through that. We've got 08 fronts now with 332 rears. Let's go to a bigger front, and then we can go to that bigger rear if it needs it. But to me, couldn't tell because it also did it when I wasn't braking. The rear was a little sketch, but then when I was braking, it was even worse. And so I think that right now, if I was making a choice, I'd want the 331s on the front.
Okay, but for next session, lower the rear turn.
Lower the rear turn.
You want to make any shock changes?
No, the shocks feel good.
Okay.
Maybe we put the brake pads on it. I mean,
okay.
How do you feel?
I don't feel like I have. Obviously, I went slow.
Let's leave it as is. Let's lower the rear turn and see what we got.
Okay.
On the initial shakeout, we're at some point we'll go and run sweeps and test ride heights, and it's easiest to do on one axle at a time. Lower it, better, worse. More. If we're lowering the front, do we gain front grip, lose front grip, and just with that bias of whether you gain grip or not, while you're doing this testing, you're not so. It's not so critical that you do it back to back or immediately on the same track conditions, because all you care about is the relative balance front to rear. But we're bringing this car out, and we took a rough stab at ride height. I think we're maybe coming down.
All right, so pivot point out here, subframe here, it is slightly down.
Okay.
So raised at the center, just a hair.
Okay, so we're talking about that that front, we're talking about the front suspension, we're talking about the front lateral arm, because that is super important. It's an effective roll center, but I think about it as it's a vector force of what we're potentially applying downwards to the tire, or potentially, if we're not careful, bringing upwards. And it all matters, and not what the arm looks like, not whether the arm looks level, but what the center pivot point of that center ball joint at the subframe is versus the center of the ball joint out at the hub, and the imaginary line drawn between the two. And we want it to be like a 1/4 inch down or so on the outside at the hub side, so that when it's compressed in a turn, it's really like staying around that lateral-ish phase.
Without looking at it and getting under the car, I think we're roughly about 1/4 inch, maybe a hair more.
Okay, so we were trying to wonder if we should bring the whole car down and look for grip, but we definitely need to bring the rear of the car down because it's still a little tail happy. Tear happy. We know we can bring the rear down and improve two things: get rid of some anti-squat, but also we're paying attention, like similar to the front, to that rear spring arm length, that lower spring arm length, angle.
Yes, we go.
It's the angle that's important. But anyway, I think we are gonna make that relative change, just lower the rear versus put ourselves in a whole new box of ride height, and just lower the rear, affect that tail happy problem, and see where we are next time around.
All right.
Word. wonder if we now have too much rear shock. I think it's something else when we added that shock to it. Because now, if you come through the bus stop, like you fired into the bus stop, you accelerate all the way in, no problem. Then you brake and it's a gradual turn, but like turn to steady state, not continuing to turn. It's like wait, and all of a sudden it oversteers. I think the rear is more shock tied down than the front.
Okay. Do you want to come out of the rear?
I think we're too late in the thing to do that, but
Okay.
But I think that the shock was a misread of
Ride height?
ride height.
Okay.
Misread or band-aid, different way to address the issue, but I don't think ultimately. I think we got a shock imbalance.
Okay. I feel it wanting to just, it's gradual.
Yeah, and then also like the way the whole thing heaves over where the Honda bridge used to be, like Madness, then right, then left, and you crest the hill. The front feels like it's doing this, and the rear feels a little pinned down. It'd be nice if it was more cohesive.
Okay.
So I think that's a rear shock thing, but I wouldn't change it for now.
I did get that braking and turning thing going into the right-hander before Thunder Valley. I mean, I was like, I'm braking, giving it some angle. I'm just like, no, release the brake.
And the track also does that there too.
Okay.
Like in Ryan's car, same thing. The track is flat and a little polished, and you turn in, and you just kind of have to wait for the push, and then all of a sudden, when the track surface starts to come up, it goes.
Okay.
So that's two things, a little bit there maybe.
I did not go faster. Mid 37 probably. I don't even know where it was. Some traffic. I just couldn't put it totally together. I don't know if the track is going away or I'm also toasted. I'm like mentally done. But yeah, overall though the brakes did take. It took more. I was surprised it took more. I thought they were going to be more sensitive, but they kind of threw what you wanted at them.
And you can really ram it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're better, and it'd be interesting to look at data, but it's easier for someone to drive. I was talking to Z on pit lane. It's easier for somebody to drive that's not like thinking like, oh, it's not stopping, I should release the brake.
Yeah.
You know, so it's more intuitive to drive, but I don't know if it's better or not, or easier on the tires or anything like that.
Overall, thrilled with the weekend. We got a car that we're going to load back up that really had no problems other than a fuel starve.
Yeah, we had low fuel pressure, which you got to put fuel in the car. So that was our only fix this weekend, is putting fuel in the car. And we got to test a bunch of suspension changes, a little bit of shock change, but it's really kind of working well out of the box. And then we did just ride heights.
Yeah.
Try to stabilize the rear. It's tricky because we still don't have bars as a tuning tool. We'll have bars on it in the near-ish future. Did a bunch of brake pads, different brake pads, which, you know, when you do pad testing, it's eye-opening to do these things back to back instead of like, I'm going to do these pads this weekend and next weekend I'll try these back to back. It's like night and day, the difference in how these things work. So if you're ever testing brake pads and trying to figure out what you like, if you can run the pad that you're on and then immediately switch to the other pad that you want to try, you'll know that answer right away instead of guessing that you know what that answer is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, awesome built car.
Yeah.
Everything worked.
Everything worked. I mean, we got a range of stuff on here that we've thrown at this. Testing out the new TA16 wheels, the specific offset for this thing. So stoked to get a square package on this. The MCS dampers, and we've talked about the dampers throughout, but man, the foundation of this whole thing. A big thing on this that really wakes up one of these cars, not a ratio change, but just getting a limited slip unit in this thing.
Yeah.
Not doing a one wheel peel and having that spin coming out of tight corners and whatnot.
Right, but of course a non-M car doesn't have a limited slip. It doesn't even have the limited slips that we love to replace, like the M cars with the, you know, it's just an open diff and it cuts power. So Dan at Diffs Online hooked us up with a proper racing diff, 3 clutch on this.
4 clutch.
4 clutch, even better. Spreads the loads, longer durability. So that was a nice piece. PFC brakes, we went through a bunch of them, different things we liked. We're gonna have a recipe, or probably a couple of recipes. What else is on the car? Lots of BimmerWorld stuff.
Yeah, tons of BimmerWorld stuff. The subframe bushings. We've got this hood louver.
On top of the hood.
Obviously helping keep some of that heat out. We've got a plan to get a little bit more heat out by changing out this front bumper.
That makes a huge difference. That was huge when we, in the M235s. We did the same back-to-back on the F30s. We tried, because we ran F30s before the sport bumper came out. When the sport bumper came out, all of a sudden we helped our cooling quite a bit, so that's going to be good. One thing we didn't mention is Mila. Mila, one of those partners with OE Plus parts, and their stuff is amazing, engineered to be better than stock in a lot of instances, especially in that Mila HD line, and it's kind of a go-to supplier for us for a range of things throughout the car. I don't know what all we have on it at this point that's Mila.
Right now, tension arms, control arms, a couple rear bushings. We had a couple other parts we were going to throw on this thing. Wheel bearings, yeah, a few other things we're going to throw on this thing.
And of course, redline oil. Always redline oil. First thing we do with a new car when it comes in, first thing we do in a race car, all the fluids, redline oil, engine, trans, diff.
Yeah, what up, MagnaFlow? We're working on with MagnaFlow on a race exhaust for this thing. Sounds pretty good. So 3-inch all the way back. Thing's pretty spicy.
And then of course safety. We got Race Tech seats. I love those things. That's the first seat I actually fell in love with. It just fits the way you want to sit in a race car. And it's super stable. Like it's a robust seat. You grab it by the head restraint ear and shake it, and you shake the car. You don't twist the seat back and forth. Lifeline harnesses, love those things. I like to get it super, super tight. Lifeline rain light, Lifeline fire system. None of those which we had to use this weekend.
Thank you.
And hope we still don't.
BimmerWorld cage.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a BimmerWorld cage in this thing. So yeah.
Cage kit fits F32, F82.
Yep.
So it also fits the M cars and is a direct welded in, ready to rock cage kit.
Optima battery.
Optima battery, reason for the season.
Yeah, so really a whole range of parts that went in this thing. You guys have probably seen the other videos at this point, but yeah, really stoked to have a good weekend of not a headache of shakedown, but really a weekend of testing a new race car, which was pretty awesome. And thanks to James for helping me go faster throughout the weekend, as it was a fun weekend of back and forth of looking at data, figuring out what we're doing, making car changes. It was a lot of fun to work together on this thing.
Yeah, huge congrats to you for putting this thing together. If you haven't already, check all the episodes on this thing. I think we've got 6 or 7 already up until this point. If you want to see how we did it, we go through the whole process. And of course, if you want to talk to us about it, give us a call, like, subscribe, call us, because we like to talk to you about cool stuff that we do, because we want to facilitate your cool stuff also.
Yep. I think next time, maybe this thing goes to a race. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
ready to go?
Should be an awesome race weekend.
We are ready to kill it this year.
It's good.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Smoking hot, and it says here.
Have fun.
Right.
Enjoy what's left over here.
I told you, you go ahead and take it off first this next time.
And at the end of the session, when there wasn't even time to go do it lap, and then fills it up all the way with fuel and says, "Here, now you can do it."
Well, what James may not know is that I came in like 3 or 4 laps earlier because I saw the E92 in pit, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bring it in for James. I come in, and then he's back out. So you had your opportunity. You wasted it.
I didn't waste it. That was my fault. That wasn't your fault, right? Go ahead and do this. What matters the most, Phil, is that the car went fast. Doesn't matter who was driving it. It matters that the car went fast.
It does. It does. It happened to be someone behind the wheel named Phil.
He had a problematic battery.
We're going to need to build 2 of these things.